Welcome everyone back to another edition of Cleve and Me. And as we all know, I'm going to have a plethora of guests joining me today. I just wanted to simply get things going and get off to a good start here as it's not the biggest card in the world. We got Hell in a Cell 2021, obviously, this Sunday starting at probably 5 Central Time. Go for a few hours. Now, there's only 5 matches on the card right now. And, excuse me. Excuse me for that. Anyways, moving on from that, they're gearing up for the live events. They all start July 16th. We know that. We're going to have Money in the Bank with fans. We're going to be in Texas for that. And then we're going to have SummerSlam, which is going to be 70 to 80,000 people, which is that WrestleMania size. So you could see what they're preparing for there. We've talked in our podcast. If you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many other outlets, you could find where we talk about the things coming up in the future. People like John Cena, people like The Rock, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, a bunch of names that are going through the circles right now because Stephanie McMahon said herself recently, she doesn't think she's stepping back in the ring anytime soon, which is probably a good thing. But we're going to get many other people and surprises. So Vince McMahon said it himself real quick. If you didn't see that the other day, he was, pretty upset with the product that's been happening. And honestly, it starts and ends with him. He'll blame it on creative, what have you. But he says he wants, more storylines that build into the future and more things to happen. So once fans get back, they know people will boo if they put on bad shows. So they better get ready. But anyways, let's stick to the task at hand as I'm about to bring in a couple of familiar faces and both co-hosts of mine. Let's start with the big two men's title matches. Number one, Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio. Now, this was a last-minute feud brought together, and for last minute, I think they did a pretty good job, and here's why. This is not a pay-per-view, for Reigns to lose. This also isn't one to have him go against somebody younger and just take him out. Not even younger, but somebody who deserves a big run, like a Big E or a Kevin Owens again, where we saw that feud a few times. This is simply a Hell in a Cell match. Good short-term thinking, bringing in Dominic and doing all that. And I think we're going to have a good match. I think a lot of people, Rey Mysterio is obviously a decorated 15-time superstar. He's been in and out with injuries all along the way, but he's always been a consistent WWE star. And as we know, Roman Reigns, since this heel turn, by God, has been on top of the world. So I think that will be a good match, but I think we know the outcome there. Number two, we're going to have Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, round 3. If McIntyre loses, he cannot challenge Mr. Bobby Lashley again, and thank God. I think after 3 times, they do their things in threes a lot. That's okay, but we're ready to close it at Hell in a Cell. I will give my prediction later on that one. Another couple of things on Raw that's happening. Obviously, the women's title match between Asuka and Rhea Ripley fought last week on Raw, but this time we're getting Ripley and Charlotte. Should be a phenomenal match. We all know the last time they fought in the big lights at WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair ended up bringing home the gold. Let's see if in this one-on-one, Rhea Ripley gets her big revenge. Another women's match we have that has nothing to do with titles and more to do with craziness is Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. I really don't know what's going to happen here. With how cinematic it gets or with however anything goes on, but it's going to be an interesting match to say the least. I'm wondering if they add in the cinema part or they just keep it normal. That's still to be determined. But as I keep rumbling and stumbling through this, I will obviously bring in my main co-host, Cleveland. I've been talking for a few minutes now to the people, just, telling them what's up, what's going on, where we're headed, and about Hell in a Cell. How we doing today, my man?
Doing all good. It's a beautiful day outside. I was off today, just sort of relaxing, catching up on this trash in the NBA games, talking smack to you on Twitter. Looking forward to talking about Hell in a Cell and Raw and NXT.
Yeah, and that's a great point on NXT too, because there's actually, we're going to talk mostly Hell in a Cell, but with only 5 matches stated at this time, we probably will get a couple more with the pre-show and maybe something more out of SmackDown, as we have 3 Raw matches into SmackDown at the moment. But let's just hit it since you brought it up before we bring in, Tones, who's going to be joining us, and maybe a couple of others on our predictions. If you didn't watch NXT last night, William Regal, or even recently, William Regal said it. He was like, you know what? I don't think I can be the enforcer here anymore. Between Adam Cole and Karrion Kross, things are getting out of hand. I need somebody to be an enforcer. And this is a perfect example of how WWE things did right. They let go Samoa Joe for a lot of money, might have you. A lot of people, bitch and whine. Boom. He is going to be back as the NXT enforcer. Cleve, just to even, if you didn't see last night, basically, Karrion Kross is kind of like, I'll do what I want. Samoa Joe says, no, you won't. Then backstage, Adam Cole gives him more crap and he puts him into his headlock and what have you. So he's not really ready to wrestle just yet, but he's definitely going to make his presence known. How do you feel and like or dislike the move?
First, I absolutely love that WWE re-signed Samoa Joe. I really thought that if he were to go to AEW, that would be somewhat of a big loss to them just because of the name that Samoa Joe is. And when he finally gets cleared, Samoa Joe is actually pretty good in the ring. Now, the enforcer role, I like it because it gives him something to do for the time being instead of just sticking him on commentary every week. It keeps him busy and it keeps him somewhat clashing with the other NXT guys. Maybe you could possibly set up a match down the road when he is cleared. Just guys that you mentioned, Adam Cole, he choked out in the backstage. When he gets medically clear, Adam Cole be like, hey, I remember what you did to me. I want to, have a match and this and that. And I saw something interesting with him and Finn Balor too, where Finn Balor was hinting that possibly he would want a match with Samoa Joe. So, a lot of people give WWE a lot of shit, but they actually did something that none of us expected them to do, which is to bring back someone like Samoa Joe. They got an A+ for me for bringing him back.
Yeah, and I have to go with a similar grade just for all the good stuff he's done for the industry, between being an announcer, number one, and obviously all his in-ring work from shit. You could go back to TNA, NXT, everything he's done. So I'm glad to see Joe back in the picture, as I have his shirt. I want to keep rocking the thing, baby. He's a generational talent. That being said, that kind of covers, the surfaces of NXT. As we said, we'll be sharing news in and out. Roman Reigns actually, real quick, had a comment. Actually yesterday or the day before on John Cena and The Rock, saying that, hey, they're doing good with their streaming movies, throwing a little hit at them. Let them stay over there. If they want to come over here, I don't think that will help their career anymore. They've done enough. Cleveland, we talked about this a lot in our podcast, things coming up. I mentioned before you got on, Stephanie McMahon says there's a lot of surprises coming, especially at SummerSlam. Vince McMahon, he's changed things up top. He's done things. Are you thinking, once we get this live crowds, once we get to Money in the Bank SummerSlam, they're going to hit the next level, or do you think it's going to be that same dreadful line that we sometimes get?
Well, luckily, seeing how fans have been away from WWE so long, and the fact that our WWE ratings have fell down the drain, actually, I think that when fans come back, WWE would probably not show their entire hand, but they will show some of it to keep people coming back and tuning in and spending money. Because like we always talk about in this podcast, nothing matters more to Vince McMahon than the dollar signs. So he knows that if you bring John Cena back, as much as people hate John Cena, as much as people love John Cena is a sale. The Rock is a sale. Two guys right there. If you even bring back one at a time, that will sell out arenas. That will get people talking. It'll get people buzzing. Especially if Becky Lynch were to make a return too. I know she's been out for so long. It kind of, I would sometimes even forget that Becky Lynch was even gone for that long. But it's been almost what has been almost a year and a half or something since she's
It's since she gave up the belt right after that last Mania, so it's been about a year and some months
come
change now.
months. So yeah, so when her music hits, people are gonna go absolutely crazy. So I think WWE will. They won't go all out because Vince never goes. He never shows his true hand. But I think he will give us bits and bits of pieces every here and there, especially with SummerSlam being at like a WrestleMania level because they are gonna. I forgot how many fans you said.
About
Probably
70 to 80,000.
so yeah, if they even get 70,000, best believe they're gonna bring their A game.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's put up or shut up time. That's how it is in this business when you're year round. Sometimes you just got to make game changing moves, and I think they will. And I've never seen a card so small actually being the 5 matches we have here. And like I said, they'll probably come up with another one or two from SmackDown side of things. Um, a little bit of other news. Let's see what we got here. Hey, did you see the Eva Marie thing on Monday night? So she came out. She didn't even, she came back after a few years off. Then she brings in an NXT UK star who is a phenomenal in-ring talent. The way for her size she can move, and I was impressed by that. But do you think they did a good job with how they are bringing her out? And they the lady won, which I'm sorry for forgetting at the moment, I will find it. They pronounce Eva Marie as the winner. She looks good, but she didn't do a damn thing in the ring. Do you like or dislike that what they did?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I wasn't really watching wrestling when she was around, but I've heard that it wasn't a pleasant when she left. It wasn't that good of a. They weren't that good of terms, I'm guessing. So when she left, so I'm interested to see where this goes with her. It seems like they're pushing her very hard. She's getting, they cut the videos for her and stuff. So, like I said, I don't want to speak too much because I really don't know too much
I'm
about her.
trying. I'm trying to see who they used.
Well,
I'm gonna
if they
go
use
ahead.
a
Go ahead.
UK person, then I mean they're really trying to build her up because let's be honest, the NXT UK is sort of like WWE stepchild, and unless you're a really really hard WWE fan, you're watching NXT UK, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't really tuned into it. So
Yeah, it was NXT UK's Piper Nevin is her name. And let me say, I mean, the opposite of Nia Jax. She's not as tall as her, but she's a larger lady. She can move. She reminded me of Otis in there a little bit with the moves that were kind of going on. So I was pretty damn near impressed with her. Now, I don't really know what that says for Eva Marie. Is she's going to kind of stay on the outside of things? Maybe that's the way they want it. Maybe that's the best way they go about doing things. But hey, we'll see where it goes. It's hard to judge after just one episode. I want to see where the storylines go. Again, if we want to create these long-term storylines, if we want to make plays happen, we actually have to, start to show up and develop. Go ahead, Cleveland.
fun fact, actually, you speaking of rematches, Vince McMahon actually, I read it a few days ago where Vince wants to come out with a new idea. And he said instead of having random matches each week, he wants matches to be built towards something, a bigger picture. Now, that all honesty sounds like something that is definitely interesting to see instead of seeing random matches between two people that we haven't seen in a long time. We're seeing actual storylines being built up besides the main event pictures, even the lower card. So if Vince McMahon could stick to his guns, I think that would be a great way to bring viewerships back because we've seen Jeff Hardy and Cedric Alexander.
Alexander. Yep.
They had a few matches back to back. So I think that's where Vince wants to go. He confirmed it when he said it. So I'll be real interested because we've seen this in the past where WWE has always talked about we're going to change it up.
In 2018, remember how they stepped on Monday Night Raw? We've talked about it before. All of them in Triple H and said they're going to listen to us.
Do you remember the 3 people from each brand that's allowed on each week? How long that lasts? So hopefully this idea lasts because not only does it give more wrestling screen time, but storyline is the most important thing in wrestling. That is, you have to build up a story. You have to make people want to see this match. not put matches together with two people that haven't been unseen on the show in months. Let the story and the characters build, and then Raw can be honestly better because we're not even going to. SmackDown doesn't need. We don't need to critique SmackDown at all. SmackDown is doing what it's doing every Friday. It is the number one brand on WWE in WWE. Raw though, Raw needs a shakeup or something because it's hard to sit through 3 hours of that.
Yeah, and I mean, real quick, SmackDown proved that easily by, AEW's had a few weeks on Fridays. I know it's not their main day or anything, but they are getting slaughtered by SmackDown. No surprise there. When they get back to Wednesdays, they'll kick ass again and do great things. But SmackDown is the number one show. And a lot of people, as Cleveland alluded to, are upset with Monday Night Raw. And what I'll say on that is we all know I'm a huge Monday Night Raw guy from just when I was a kid, simply, that's how they're just in my blood and my bones. What can I say? So I watch every week, but I do agree. They have time, like half the show. I'm like, man, this is awesome. They're getting it. And then half of them, like, oh, why'd they go there? So when you have a 3 hour show, things aren't always the most easy, and they got to start capitalizing. As Cleveland and I alluded to earlier, if they're going to do these longer storylines, let's see it, because goddamn, it's been a while and we're ready for it. But really quickly before Brother Tones joins us, as you all know, he is the fill-in co-host. He's helped us out in a plethora of ways. He's just, getting his shit done, getting home from work, and we'll give our predictions on the 5 matches. Cleveland, let's just shoot the shit and talk about a couple things here. At SummerSlam, I think we're going to get Becky Lynch and John Cena. I think those will be the two we get back. Is there somebody I haven't mentioned or anybody you could think of maybe with a comeback, whether it be an older person like a Goldberg who always shows up, or somebody who hasn't just been simply on in a while like a Jinder Mahal and his faction, or somebody who got fired who they might bring back like a A-lister Blackie bring? Anything that comes to mind to you where you're like, that would make it pop. That would make those fans be like, damn, I can't believe they did that.
Question is, where the hell is Daniel Bryan? Where has he been at? Yeah, see a lot of people have forgotten about Dan Bryan. Not I though. We know that his contract's supposed to be expiring, and we know that he wants to be able to wrestle in different promotions, but maybe WWE, where to talk Daniel. Vince McMahon's a great talker. We have seen in the past where wrestlers want to leave. Who was that? Marie and her husband at the time.
I know. I'm forgetting. I'm dropping at the day too. But I know exactly when they did the whole pregnant scene with her on Raw.
You remember they were complaining about not want to be in WWE, and then they end up signing a 5-year contract after meeting with Vince McMahon. So maybe Daniel Bryan makes a return. Maybe Vince talked to him, offered a sweeter deal and this and that. But that would be a guy because I think he's been gone for almost 2 months now, and Daniel Bryan is still one of the best wrestlers in today's business.
Well, and he definitely, I think, is going to be pretty loyal. And I mean, I've been wrong before. I'm not going to mind if it happens again, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty loyal and either come back and stick with creative, maybe because he just wants to do more family time and things of that nature. Or, you know what? Hey, we're going to get that SummerSlam return where let's say he goes to Raw and I don't know if say it's Lashley or Sheamus, he could even challenge for the United States title and he can get back the S move. I think that would be something classic. So I like the pick there. I think obviously Becky Lynch has to be close. I mean, she signed a new deal. She's a very good and rich wrestler now. We need her back for the women's division. I think she messes with the Ripley Charlotte match, which would be quite awesome. But really, it's about what we're getting into. Hell in a Cell is going to put a little bit of a close on things, and then Money in the Bank is really going to open it up. I wouldn't be Cleveland. If you had to predict, do you think being a month apart only, but we get 2 Money in the Banks, do you think somebody will? Because I've seen a cash in at Money in the Bank with Alexa Bliss, who won it off of the Nia Jax Ronda Rousey match. Do you think somebody will cash in SummerSlam or prior, being fans are coming back?
100%. That's another one of the things is too. It's sad because WWE has made a pay-per-view out of Money in the Bank when I think it shouldn't been made a pay-per-view. But the
Ooh,
Money in the
really?
Bank, I don't think it should. I think they should have probably just kept it at WrestleMania. It was more interesting. And I just feel like you just kind of water it down just a little bit. And in the past, where you've seen winners have lost their Money in the Bank briefcase. But it's a possibility because at the end of the day, people still get excited to see when a guy that holds the briefcase music hits, especially if a champion is down. Dolph Ziggler did it one night after WrestleMania. I remember Kane cashed in on Chavo Guerrero when he won it 2 hours earlier, and he cashed in on him. So that's a possibility, and it will get people talking. But it all depends on who wins the Money in the Bank briefcase this year. Not like last year when God Oldest won it, the goofiest way too. But if the right person, a heel to me, I think a heel has to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. It adds more. A good guy just
But
doesn't
with
do it
two,
right.
even though it's just right now with two heels having the belts with the main belts, you think it should still be a heel?
I still give it just because I don't a good guy. It just goes to waste because they wouldn't be sneaky like a heel would. A heel would wait around. They'll be like a wolf stalking his prey. You know what I mean? He'll just wait at the right moment to pick you off. Compared to a good guy, when John Cena did it a few years ago, where he let the guy know that he was going to cash it in on this day. I'm going to cash it in for a match. Compared to when Edge used to do it, where Edge will wait when you're most vulnerable, you're weakest, and you're down and out, and he comes out and cashes it in. So yeah, because it's kind of a tough thing because the two champions are I think they're going to hold the title for a long time, but the Money in the Bank holder has a whole year to before he has to give the briefcase back. So I think one of them guys will lose their champion within that time frame.
Which is, I forget if a couple have been announced or not. I think Carmella and Liv Morgan might have already been announced for Money in the Bank. I'm not sure, but if I had to give, because they did with, you know, was it Asuka and Otis last year were the two? Yeah, no, didn't work. Both were just terrible, terrible ways of doing it. We can all agree on that. Um, off the top of my head, I just, somebody like Seth Rollins and Edge, when you were talking about the surprise element, I feel like them two did a very good job
Hundred
with
percent.
that. If I had to, really quickly off the top of my head, think of, God, there's so many people who are deserving, but, like I would love to get, a Keith Lee in a Money in the Bank match, and maybe that's, a big guy winning, or you could even give it to a guy like Ricochet who could jump all over the ring. But there's a plethora of stars. We'll have a whole show for that. But without further ado, with the 5 matches we do have and the actual topic at hand, Hell in a Cell 2021. We welcome co-host, our filling guy. We are familiar with him. I don't have to introduce him for the millionth time, Mr. Tricky Tones, my brother Cleveland's man. We all brothers here. How we doing today? Are you ready to give some predictions for Hell in a Cell?
Gentlemen, it's great. I cannot figure out which way to put my hat, but I think I have now. Glad to be back here. Glad to be here again for the first time in a while. Excited to talk some matches. And I know I keep mentioning it, but Cleveland's probably stretching out for that Cowboys ass whipping that's soon to come. But we'll save that for my podcast. We could do a pregame pod before that game. So glad to be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, we love our wrestling, and with them two here right now, we'll tell you why. I mean, we found out the first event I'll never forget. I saw it at night, August 2nd, Monday Night Raw in Chicago. So if you're listening to this and you're in Chicago, get your ass to Monday Night Raw. Tickets are cheap. We did not go the cheap route on this one, however. I got an email from my brother in the morning about the sale, and I was like, yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna have much interest. All of a sudden, no, he's like, dude, I sent you this because I'm in. One of our coworkers who sit next to him, actually Alex's cousin, who's been on our show from row 7, he's like, dude, I'm in. I'm excited. Cleveland, we text. He's like, let me check something real quick. He's like, yep, I'm in. And then our other buddy, Emad, who is always traveling around with the gang, he's always in for anything. And we spent good money. We spent a little north of 500, but we're like, screw it. You get a commemorative chair. Tones, correct me if I'm wrong. You get an autographed photo and a backpack I believe those are the three.
That sounds correct. You get a commemorative chair, souvenir chair, the one that you sit in at ringside, you bring home with you, and then you get a backpack and you get a commemorative random autograph photos. So, we'll put Cleveland in the worst autograph photo seat. No, I'm kidding. No, it should be a good package. And they also said other VIP merchandise. I know before they've done a couple other surprise things with merchandising and giving them to the VIP people. So we'll see. And along with all that, we'll be on a good amount of TV since we're in row 4. So, you could catch us in row 4. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, catch us there. How about that? But I mean, again, August 2nd, Monday Night Raw, on our way to SummerSlam. We're hoping to see some big names. We know it's not, SmackDown has Roman Reigns. They could seem to be getting a John Cena, but we're hoping to see our big surprises. Maybe a Becky Lynch, maybe a Brock Lesnar. We got Bobby Lashley as champion. There's a lot of things that could happen between now and August 2nd, especially with the fans coming back. But sticking to the topic at hand, because we're sports fans too, especially football, with Dallas being Cleveland's team and Tampa Bay being Tone's team, we got a wild few months to get to week 1 because I talked to my dad and my brother, and they laugh at the fact that they say that will be a competitive game. And then you got Cleveland seething at the moment over here, waiting to get that, early in the year Dak Prescott vibes that they had going on offense weeks 1 through 6. But we'll save that for the end of the show because I think we could talk crap all day there. Gentlemen, we got 5 matches. We got right now 3 Raw, 2 SmackDown. As I said, I think they'll add in a pre-show match for SmackDown or what have you. But let's get right to it. The fans have been waiting long enough. For about a little halfway through the show here, a little over. Let's start with how do I say this? I don't know if it's the weirdest match of them all. Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. I'm not sure if it's in the playground. I'm not sure really what's going on. Shayna joined the Funhouse. Alexa Bliss has her doll just like Bray Wyatt has his. She has Lily. Shayna knocked it out. And ever since that, Alexa Bliss has been toying with her, screwing with her. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Give me a winner. And I've talked about this a plethora of times with both you, but I think we need Bray Wyatt back, and I love what Alexa's doing, but I don't know. Cleveland, start with you, go to Tones.
I said this, I think, last show or the show before. This feud is a make or break for Shayna Baszler. WWE has fumbled really badly with her since her WrestleMania loss. She was stuck in that goofy tag team with Knight, and it's sort of damaged her aura a little bit as sort of this badass. So maybe this feud can put her back on the right path. I don't know where, like I said, I feel Bray Wyatt I think he should come back because as great of a job as Alexa Bliss has done, this was originally Bray Wyatt's idea. And it seems like they're just going further and further away from Bray Wyatt. And it seems like it's just focusing more on Alexa Bliss. But if I were to pick a winner for this, I don't even think it'll probably be a winner. I think this will probably go to a no contest match or something where either, I don't know, Bray Wyatt might come back or something will cause this match to end without this decisive winner, in my opinion.
And to be honest with you, I kind of hope Bray Wyatt gets his payback, comes back, and has Alexa lose and, maybe sends her to the promised land. How about, let's say you, though, Tones?
I don't really think that you can have Alexa Bliss win this match in a legit fight. The only way she wins is by supernatural forces or causes or other effects that might come into play. I agree with Cleve that there might be some Bray Wyatt interference here that happens because they don't really want either of these people to lose, I feel like. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting what happens. If it's a clean, fair fight, obviously Shayna wins, but we'll see. I don't know what happens. Bray's probably gonna come back and assist Alexa, though, is my gut.
So you're going with assist Alexa. I'm going with against Alexa, and Cleveland is going with a no decision. As we bring in our great Tampa native and a great man himself, it's Mr. Tampa style Stunner. Stunner, we're talking about Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. Do you have a prediction for her?
I'm not an Alexa Bliss fan. I think she's a weirdo. I would love to see, Shayna Baszler power slam her. But I think, what was it, Monday night? She just beat what's Shayna's tag team partner? Who's
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax, exactly. So she just beat Nia Jax. So if she just beat Nia Jax, then you know that they're going to somehow rig it for her to win again.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good point Stunner brings up there, because Alexa Bliss has a lot of power right now, and she's just finding ways to get the job done, kind of like when Bray did. And there's always a lot happening with the character of Bray Wyatt. We've seen that. Nobody really has much updates on him. We just hope he's back soon. But if I'm going to finish this thing out, like I said, we got 4 different decisions here. We got a no decision. We have a Bray Wyatt puts an end to Bliss. We have a Bray Wyatt helps Bliss, and we have an Alexa Bliss clean win. So, or somehow win, I should say. So that's match number 1. But I'm going to put that aside because we got 4 title matches to look at. The 2 main men's and the 2 main women's. And you know what? While we're on Raw, let's just keep sticking with it and do another ladies match, which will be between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. We've known for weeks. Some of them have battles with Nikki Cross. Some of them have battles with Asuka. A lot of interference. Them two have been teeing off on each other when they have a chance. Charlotte Flair kind of has this new charisma to her right now and new, attitude, while Rhea Ripley sits back there and goes, "I'm the champ," and laughs. Stunna, I'm going to start with you on this one. Between the very impressive and muscled ladies, who you going with, Charlotte Flair or Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title?
Well, ironically, Rhea Ripley was on WWE, the sports animal, lately. And, I think they've been trying to boost Rhea up a lot. And Charlotte is kind of an older, wrestler who's been established. So I think that it's going to be Rhea this time.
And, after they kind of screwed her up with letting Charlotte win the NXT battle at WrestleMania a year and a half ago, and people could argue as they want about that. Maybe it wasn't her time yet. She was a little fresh. Now that she's been on Raw a little while, she's still not very good with the promos yet. But hey, that takes time to develop. She is a good in-ring talent. I think her entrance brings in that sadistic heel side to her. From one Tampa guy to another, Tones, are you going to agree with Mr. Stunner and Rhea, or are you going the opposite direction?
As much as I'd like to agree with my old friend here, I think I'm going to have to go the opposite direction here. And it's something that the WWE has a syndrome of doing, so we'll see what happens. But Charlotte Flair just wins, and they're going to want to make her the renowned title leader when it's all said and done. So I think Charlotte Flair continues to win here. What has it been a while since she's won? Probably, close to, a while in her standards. So I think that Charlotte's going to have to win here and continue making her way to the top and the best woman competitor to ever do it.
Oh, and I mean, she clearly doesn't want to always. She said on the outside she wasn't a big fan of, Ric Flair being in all her storylines. She just wants to be her badass self and dominate. Cleveland, how are you going to split these two up? It's a 1-1 tie right now. What do you got for us?
Both make very interesting points. It would be, I wouldn't be mad if Charlotte were to win because, like Tones mentioned, Charlotte is one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. But I think, like Stunner mentioned, it is Rhea Ripley time. The last time they had a match at WrestleMania Backlash, it was Asuka that took the pinfall. So Rhea has never got that rematch in that pinfall back that Charlotte took from her at WrestleMania. Don't forget when Charlotte beat Rhea at WrestleMania, that sort of like sent Rhea on a downward spiral. She sort of fell out of the spotlight. She went back to NXT, and we somewhat forgot about her. So I think if WWE really wants to make her the next star, she has to beat the best in the game, and that is Charlotte Flair.
And, to bring in a conversation before I can't get away with this one. I got to get my prediction right now. I'm going Rhea Ripley. I'm going with Stunner, making this a 2-2 tie. I just think, if they kill her off now, Charlotte can do many things. Even if there's some interference, Ripley's got to hold on to the belt here and carry it for another show with fans coming back. Let's see how they react to her in the main stages of Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But to, get the Tampa guys who, join the broadcast a little bit in, just to update you guys, and I want to hear what you guys think on this. Vince McMahon yesterday came out and actually said he was pretty upset with the creative way of thinking lately. Now, that could be a little confusing with itself because at the end of the day, he holds the cards. But he said he wants longer storylines. With fans coming back, there's gonna be more surprises. He says he's got people. He released a lot of people because he's got expensive and new good young stars coming back. Stunner, I'm gonna start with you and go over to Tons. Are you buying what he's selling, or is this just another one of his money grabs to try and keep things popular?
What's that?
Talking about better storylines happening, talking about more superstars coming back like a John Cena, a Brock Lesnar, others. Do you think he's hyping things up for the real, for the fans coming back, or you think he's full of crap and he just wants people to tune in and see if they gravitate to it?
Honestly, I heard a rumor that WWE is going bankrupt. And they might have to stream on Peacock is like the only service. Like they're going to lose USA and they're going to lose Fox. So I think there might be something to it.
Well, and that would be interesting within itself before Tone jumps in here real quick, because their stock is at an all-time high, but at the same time they get like right now they're being all the McMahon family and Triple H by shareholders are being sued because they think they covered up some things. So their stock's way up, but they have a lot of confusion in the middle. They've been releasing people here and there. They could be selling. A lot of rumors. Buck, what you heard was on last time mentioned. He thinks sale. Tones, out of everything between Vince McMahon and what Stunner laid out for you, where are you thinking the direction of WWE will be going into late 2021, early 2022?
I think that they're in a tough spot, and it's really, really, really tough to see. And I think that they're slowly going downhill. I think that other companies' upbringings are slowly lessening the enigma of the WWE. Some might say that it doesn't quite have the grab that it used to have. You used to hear WWE and you used to assume like, oh, that's, the top of the top, the best of the best. Well, now that's not the case anymore. They can't even afford all their top guys. As Stunna said, there's rumors of them losing network ships, and I think we can all agree it's about 10 years overdue for Vince McMahon to give up the reins of the saddle. So as much as it stings to see the WWE going downhill in terms of money and viewerships lately, we all knew this was coming eventually if Vince McMahon continued to try and ride the high wave, and he can't get over the fact, and wrestling fans have had enough. And they're finally going elsewhere because there is a lot of shows to watch now and there's a lot of talent going elsewhere. Vince doesn't have that upper hand that he used to and said, you either watch WWE or you don't watch wrestling. That's not how it is anymore. You can access AEW weekly. You can access Impact weekly. You can access ROH based on a subscription viewership. There's a lot of other ways to watch wrestling. People are realizing that. And, all I'm saying is, numbers sometimes lie, and WWE probably isn't in their best financial situation if they're releasing the likes of Braun Strowman and other young talents on the roster. So I think that they're covering up some stuff, and I think they're struggling more than what people seem to believe.
I do agree on the young guys part. I won't get into it too much. We covered it in another show. I think Braun Strowman was just an injury-prone guy who was overpaid. I think Vince McMahon does like his pockets filled, which is still happening. That being said, we don't know what's going to happen. Any direction is possible. What I found interesting, fellas, I was watching an NBA playoff game yesterday on TNT, which AEW is on. And Chris Webber was on the broadcast, and there was a little skirmish in the middle of the ring. And he said, "Oh, it's getting WWE out here." And my first thinking was, "Whoa, you think a TNT guy would know to say AEW and not say WWE?" Now, they do a lot of involvement. Shaq's been in AEW before and all that, but I just thought it was interesting that a guy on TNT still said WWE and not AEW. Just a little tidbit when I was listening that I thought it was interesting. Anyways, let's get back to the task at hand. I just wanted your guys' input. Unfortunately, from our Tampa crew, their honesty, they see some downward things. Of course, me and Cleveland, as always, see the more upward sides, but there's a lot to be determined and talked about. I think Money in the Bank with fans is going to be key. SummerSlam's going to be key. If we don't see the right changes by WrestleMania, I think it will go more in the down direction. I think if we're going to see the changes I believe will happen, we'll be in the up. That being said, we got to put it aside. We got 3 more matches to cover. And why don't we go to the last Raw match, that being Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre? Stipulations here. If Bobby wins, Drew can never challenge Bobby again for the title. This is time number 3. It's either you win at Hell in a Cell or you don't. With all that being said, they're going to go inside Hell in a Cell and fight like 2 barbarians. I'm going to lead off with my prediction and say Lashley wins. Here is why. I think they need to build up Drew without just being around the title. All of his matches in the last year and a half have been built around the title. If you're truly a top character, you can do without it. Bobby's been in the business in and out since the early 2000s. He deserves his championship run to keep going. And I do want to see him and Brock Lesnar at some point. So I'm going to go Bobby Lashley. Cleveland, over to you.
I think you hit it right on the head. It's Bobby Lashley time. Drew McIntyre, he was the man. He carried WWE through the pandemic era. He was the guy, but that time is gone. And I'm pretty sure I'm echoing what a lot of WWE fans are saying when we are tired of seeing Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley go at it. So I want Bobby Lashley to win just because he deserved it to win it a long time ago, but WWE didn't give him the push. Now they did. And the possibility of seeing him and Brock Lesnar would actually be a huge money draw. And one more fact, if Drew McIntyre were to lose and they don't take him off TV, there's nothing wrong with a guy going from the main event card to the middle card. Sheamus is the United States champion at the moment. Him and Drew McIntyre put on phenomenal matches before Drew McIntyre was challenging Bobby Lashley. So if he were to lose, I wouldn't have no problem seeing Drew McIntyre go to the middle tier card and challenge Sheamus for the United States champion.
I like that a lot because they've had great battles. So right now, 2-0 Bobby Lashley, Mr. Stunner. Where we headed?
I'm going to go with Drew. And I'm going to go with Drew because I think the Lashley-McIntyre rivalry is really the only thing Raw has going right now. So if you remove that, like you said, there's a stipulation about a challenge in the future tied to the match. If you remove that rivalry, there's really nothing there's really nothing they can do. I think they're trying to promote RK Bro for the tag teams.
Definitely.
But because, RKO being a name draw. So I'm going to go with Drew because I think that they want to keep the rivalry going between Drew and Bobby Lashley because I really don't think there's any other storyline they can really run right now.
And that's why I like bringing all. This is a great panel we have here. We're missing a couple of other great guests. They'll be on in the future, but that's a great point that I didn't even think of. You can keep the rivalry going that way. I don't know if that's what everyone wants, but like Son has said, if that's the top thing on Raw and those 2 barbarians are always going at it, hey, maybe that's what's best for business until they can get something bigger and better in there. 2-1 Tones. Are you going against your Tampa guy again? Or are you going to make this a 2-2 heat?
It's tough. As people have said now, the feud has run its course. For better or for worse, it has been pretty highly viewed, but it's to the point where I do think this is the last title match between these two. And since I think it's the last title match between these two, I do see Bobby Lashley victorious. He's a hot selling item in the WWE right now. It was Drew McIntyre a year ago at this time. Well, it's not a year ago anymore. So I think that Lashley intrigues people, and I do think that they want to move past the storyline. I know it's done some good for them, but we've seen about enough, and I don't know. I just don't see, to be honest, perhaps any championship belt changing hands at Hell in a Cell unless something crazy happens. But we'll see what happens, and I don't see Lashley going down here.
All right, you heard it there. We got a 3-1 with 2 SmackDown matches left. Let's just jump right into it as we're coming to the back half of the show here, as it's been great to this point. We have women's match title for the second time now, Bianca versus Bayley. Bayley in ultimate heel mode. Bianca still trying to build her character and build off the WrestleMania win, which was sad to see, especially for me and Stunna, loving sweet Sasha Banks so much. Since I said his name, I'll get right back to him. Stunna, we getting again a Bianca Belair win, or will they shockingly, for some reason, give it to Bayley?
The only way I see Bayley winning is if they want to create a rivalry, but I really don't, because I think that they're really trying to boost up Bianca Belair to the point where they put Sasha on leave so that she would be the only show in town. So I think they're trying to create a rivalry between her and Bayley. If you noticed, once she got back from WrestleMania, Bayley started, and they were at the last pay-per-view. Now they're at this pay-per-view, so they're trying to keep that going as the main event in SmackDown, which of course used to be Sasha Banks' role. So I think it's going to be Belair, and I think Belair is kind of like Ripley is on the other show. It's kind of like the main draw right now.
And I totally agree there with the draw and the rivalry part of things. And honestly, I mean, it'd be a short hiatus. I wouldn't mind seeing a Sasha Banks coming in and we set up like maybe a triple threat for SummerSlam or Money in the Bank or something, but that's down the line. So right now, Stunna is going Bianca Belair, with the rivalry there. I'm going to go Bianca Belair. I just have to. They can't take the title off her. If they want to grow her into, like almost like the next big thing, you got to keep having her win. And maybe down the line, I think it'd be cool if she lost to Sasha Banks actually after beating her at WrestleMania. But save that for SummerSlam or next Mania or what have you. But don't just do it just yet, but keep growing her character and putting her over. Bayley has done a lot of things in the WWE and won't mind a loss. Ding dong, hello. She can keep doing that whole charade. Cleveland, what do we got 2-0 right now?
For what it seems like, we're going to get a clean sweep of this from Tone's head nod, but I'm going with Bianca Belair too. I think the best way to get fans interested and to draw more fans is to give the champion to someone new, not go back to the same old routine. Out with the old, in with the new. Bianca's she's the new fresh air. She's the new cup of coffee. You go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Young women are in love with Bianca Belair's personality, what she does in the ring. She's fresh. Like I said, she's new. She's something different. You mentioned it. Bayley can take this loss because we all know what Bayley is capable of. We don't know how strong Bianca Belair is until they put her in a position to succeed. So I'm going Bianca Belair. I hope she retains, and it is the smart move if they want to make fans continue turning into WWE Weekly. Tuning in, I mean.
Tones, you bringing out the broom?
Yep, the broom is here. No questions asked. Bayley's character is really heading down a slippery slope, in my opinion. I mean, it's brutal. It's just really bad. And I think Bianca Belair wins this one pretty easily. as Cleve said, she's one of the hottest young divas on the planet right now. So we'll see what happens. I think she's going to win pretty easily, though, and I don't think Bailey stands a damn chance.
Yeah, and sadly, he said the same thing last time, and she did win. So, I mean, maybe she does go 2-0 against her, which you could always have a third. I feel like they do things in threes in the WWE. Maybe it ends at Money in the Bank, but we're going to get Money in the Bank winner, so that will mix things up and make it interesting. But either going to the first or last match of the night, because Roman Reigns told WWE either he's going on first or last. We'll see where they put it. I would probably predict last because you're going to get Uso's involvement, both brothers. You're going to get Dominic Mysterio probably to play a role. We could even get a surprise in there. Who knows? That being said, to make a quick story, which I think they did a good job of, Roman has been beating the crap out of Dominic and Ray. Dominic and Ray got a little bit of payback on Friday, not the full thing. That being said, Roman keeps getting over. There's a reason they didn't put a young guy against him. Rey Mysterio doesn't need any more credibility. This to me is it's going to be a long match, I believe. That's what I want you guys to say too. Long match or short match in the winner, because I think we might get a sweep here. I'm going to go Roman Reigns in a long match. Co-host Cleveland, let's say you.
I mean, if anybody thinks Rey Mysterio, they're out of their mind. Roman Reigns is the hottest act in WWE at the moment. He's probably the best wrestler on the roster. Love Rey Mysterio. You know, I grew up watching Rey Mysterio in the past, but Rey stands no chance. This is a new and confident Roman Reigns. You mentioned a good part. This will be a long match. It is a Hell in a Cell. We might see some cool things, but you'll be a fool to think that Roman Reigns will lose the champion at Hell in a Cell.
Over to you, co-host number 2, Mr. Tones.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing Rey Mysterio stand much of a chance here again. I just really don't even get the whole point of barking up a tree against Roman and Ray. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Roman gonna continue to destroy the little fella, and Dominic, you might want to put your head next to your dad's on that platter you're about to join, because you got a lot of work to do, my man. So I'm going with Roman Reigns here, and I don't think it'll be too long of a match. I think I'll be able to run around the block, not even a third of a time before this match is open. Trash.
Man, he went trash. Tampa Stunner. Are you saying trash or anything like that?
I gotta agree with Tones that Rey Mysterio is washed. And other than that, if it's for the title, it's gonna go to Roman Reigns.
Correct.
If it's just a Hell in a Cell and somebody jumps out of the cell, then I could see Mysterio doing that with his acrobatic lucha libre style. But it's who's a challenge to Roman at SmackDown in singles? I don't see too many options,
Seth Rollins.
So the guy he fought, last time was probably better than that. The guy from Europe, Cesaro. Yeah, come on. So I just don't see it, and I think it's status quo, and I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna say Reigns in short.
Okay. So, see, we got a couple of long matches, a couple of short. We all agree Roman. See, and here's the thing: I'm gonna call it like I see it. This is a pay-per-view to get to the live events. I think we're gonna see some great matches, but as Tones alluded to, we all with our predictions, you're not gonna see a lot of changeover. They are gearing up for this run starting July 16th. I think from July to next April, it is the biggest time in focal point in WWE history. And I'm not going out on a limb, I think, when I say that. I just think it's plain and simple. SmackDown's been the A show of all wrestling shows rating-wise. But Raw, it was always the main show, always the go-to, and they've been falling behind. And NXT we all love, but sometimes they don't get the same, love that they deserve. So Vince McMahon family, I know you all will never listen to this, never sniff a peep, as you don't have to. but let's get the shit together and let's get things rolling, because we all can agree we all want a great product. It's not, we're just giving our true opinions. Everyone wants to see greatness. We didn't buy $500 plus seats at the Allstate Arena in August for no reason. We didn't go to WrestleMania, in Tampa Bay for no reason. We do things because we care and we love it. So that to be said. But as we go out, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about some news at the beginning. We brought Cleveland and Tones, Stunna. We gave you all of our Hell in a Cell predictions. Really quickly, before we end the show, I'm going to start with Cleveland, then go to Tones and to Stunna. Cleveland, what do you got for us? Anything that, you want to bring up wrestling-wise, or do you just want to give the fans a shout-out and get on your way here?
I would say you mentioned that they will potentially add a match. Maybe Apollo Crews defends his Intercontinental champion at Hell in a Cell, probably on the pre-show or early in the night against Kevin Owens or someone. Because I don't think this is the final card. 5 matches, as good as it sounds, I believe they're probably going to add 2 more matches. So
at least one.
I'm shooting. Don't forget the United States champion. We have Ricochet and who's the other? Humberto
Carrillo.
Yeah, Humberto Carrillo. So we might see a triple threat match for that too. So don't be surprised if they add 2 more matches to it. I just don't think they would settle for only 5 matches for a pay-per-view like this.
Tones, anything, give yourself, put it out there, your shows or wrestling thought, a surprise this weekend, anything you want to throw in there and close out with for us.
Yeah, first off, again, it was a great show. I had a lot of fun per usual. Cleve, Stunna, you and myself. It was a good time. I do want to say that they will add matches. I do want to agree with Cleveland there. I don't think that 5 is, that's not the WWE's bread and butter. They'd always have more matches on their card and draw out the matches a little bit than have less matches on their card. So I do think that they're going to add some matches. 5. It's hard to imagine those 5 filling up the 2 to 3 hour time slot as it is anyhow. So you're definitely going to get a pre-show match. And you're definitely going to get I think another match added on, whether it's for, a title or what. Not sure what's going on with the 24/7 belt, if they can maybe make that into a storyline or something. But I do just want to bring up some Impact Wrestling news.
Go for it.
I do want to say thank you to Josh Matthews for your hard work with the Impact company. Over the past decade or so, Josh started in the WWE, and then he eventually went on to Impact, and he's leaving Impact Wrestling for better or for worse. We'll see what happens in Impact, and I'm looking forward to watching Rhino tonight in Impact. Rhino takes on a very high-profile Japan pro wrestler.
I'm going to lose that one.
Don't want to. It's Satoshi Kojima. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rhino against Satoshi Kojima, and that's on Impact tonight. And that actually just started, and that is on. You could watch it on Fight TV or Access or all those things. So again, thanks guys for having me. Keep up with me on Twitter at TrickyTonesBGTE. Keep up with my show. Bucketeers, Stunna is on as well as a co-host. We do a lot of good things there. And then I got a part-time baseball show as well, Cardboard and Crackerjack. So if you guys like to keep up with my tweets, follow me at TrickyTonesBGTE. Thanks again, all. It was a good time.
And, going off of what Tone said really quickly before we end with Stunna and wrap things up, me and Tones will throw a few bucks here and there on some things, and we include wrestling matches lately, and it's been it's a fun way to keep an eye on things. It's not like we're throwing big cheese around, but hey, we're having some fun with it and mixing in wrestling. With wrestling being on Monday through Friday, it's just crazy how much you don't realize how much content you actually get outside of the sports world and into the wrestling world. So we have fun with that there. But Stunna, anything wrestling wise, or where people can follow you at, what you want to say to close us out here, bud?
Yeah, it's Stunna Buccaneer. So my ad is changed. Big ups to Mr. Regal. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have to retire. So
Samoa Joe taking over.
Yeah. Big ups to Mr. Regal. He was the last of the real ones from WCW. And I'm not a fan of Hell in a Cell, man. I wish they'd change the name. Other than that, been a pleasure to be on tonight. Looking forward to the pay-per-view Sunday. And, I hope everybody has a safe and great weekend. And,
keep it real.
I got that wrong too. Josh Matthews is actually, I seen there's Josh Matthews news. I knew he was on Impact for a while. He actually, I guess, took some time off, and he's making his awaited return to the announcer booth at their upcoming pay-per-view Against All Odds. So they got Josh Matthews back, and I'm not sure what happened to him the past couple of years, but he was gone, and now he's back in the announcer's booth. So good move for Impact there, I believe.
Yeah, and we got, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring this crew back. We're going to have Alex, who's on vacation right now in LA, hopefully having a great time. Gene from Buck What You Heard. Casey for Life. Marcel's been on. Premier Amp has helped us out. We're going to come hot and heavy. Impact has Slammiversary coming up this summer. AEW has All Out in Chicago. WWE is bringing back the Fans for Money in the Bank going into SummerSlam. There is a lot of things coming, a lot of content coming. We always appreciate the time that not only the fans give us, but from Cleveland and myself over to Stunna and Tones, we're not only just on here to shoot the shit. We're all great friends and brothers outside of it. We'll be, between Tampa and Chicago, there's going to be a lot of traveling coming up over the next few months, especially heading into football season, where the Bucks will kick the Cowboys' ass. But we'll talk about that at another time. No, Cleveland, I'm sorry.
I can't let everyone go with Joe speaking such nonsense out of his mouth. Tones know he's my guy, but it would mean nothing more than watching my Cowboys mop the field against the Bucks. We know Dak's gonna average. He's gonna have more yards than Tom Brady. We know this already. Like I said, it's nothing. It feels good to beat a champion on ring night, opening night. Tones call it a preseason game. No, we call it a game that's going to determine our season. And I can't wait. Joe, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Joe was talking a lot of shit on Twitter about my Lakers, about, just calling me out when he doesn't realize his Colts are going to go 6-11 this season. But who am I to judge? You know what I mean? But I can't just let the blasphemous just slide by like that.
Tip of advice before I head out of here. Maybe tonight or tomorrow, I'll give you some advice. You could fly to LA. I'll give you the film. You and LeBron, because he has a lot of free time right now. You guys could sit on the couch together and watch the Dallas Cowboys with your little sippy cups and your little nap. You and LeBron could get together, go on the couch, have a nice cup of Joe, and enjoy game planning for the ass whooping that's coming in September. So get your little cup of Joe, get your sippy cup ready.
We're not going to have our backup O-lines. We're going to have our starting O-line. So
same difference in Dallas. Same difference in Dallas.
Hey, to end this show, Stunner, I want you to give me one word to describe the Dallas Cowboys.
Super Bowl champs. 2 words.
Overrated.
And that's how we're ending. Peace out, y'all.